greet you with Jesus' joy, for it is in him that I live, breathe, move, and have my very being. I'm so delighted that you joined Unboxed on Purpose today. We are a podcast created for Favored by the Father Ministries. I am Barbara Arlene Fields Brehon, your host. Our featured guests will share how they stepped outside of their comfort zones. Maybe they stepped outside of dark places in life or made simple pivots toward purpose to become unboxed. We discuss experiences that lead to the fulfillment of God gifted purpose. So I pray that each episode will resonate with our audience such that they can access their authentic destiny. Today, we are joined by a powerhouse in the wellness and coaching space, Charmaine Turner. How are you today?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing so well. I'm excited that you said yes to the question. And let me go ahead and give a short introduction. Charmaine Turner is also known as the diagnosis coach. She's all the way from Georgia, and I'm here in Virginia, but yet we're here in this cyberspace together today. She's a certified life and health coach and founder of Exalting Wellness Coaching and Consulting, a faith-driven company dedicated to helping individuals and organizations prioritize whole person wellness. She is an Air Force veteran with dual master's degrees in public health and Christian counseling. Charmaine brings over 15 years of expertise in human resources, leadership, and wellness education. Her work lives at the intersection of faith, health, and healing, rooted in her core belief that sustainable impact begins with alignment. Let's again welcome Charmaine Turner to the Unboxed on Purpose podcast. Thank you so
Yes.
much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Look, you made me sound real good, Miss Barry. You made me sound real good.
All I did was tell the truth. I want the people to know that I follow you a lot on social media. So would you tell them how we met? I like them to begin hearing from you.
Absolutely. Just like you said, I know some people kind of shy away from social media, but I am a firm believer that God uses divine alignment and he connects us with who we are supposed to connect with. So I jumped out there on LinkedIn and we just started, seeing each other's information. You reached out to me and I had to pray about it because I don't just work with anyone. And God said, no, this is a good connection. And so I reached back out to you and thank you so much for the invite. You're doing amazing things. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'm so glad that God has connected us as well, and for our respective audiences to get together for the good that you are going to share, because you have a powerful story and I can't wait for everybody to hear that. So let's just jump right on in there, and I'll be back and forth on stage or whatever, and we're going to have a lot of open mic and we're going to have a good time. So
Absolutely.
let's roll the script for you, for your life story, and the whole thing about being unboxed on purpose. You gave the show a particular title. And we want to talk about all those things from Superwoman to surrender. So let's start by talking about your passions in life when you were younger, when you were a little girl, perhaps a teenager. What were your passions in life? Where'd you grow up? And all those things about the early days of Charmaine Turner.
Sure. So I am a military brat. So I retired from the Air Force. My mother served in the Air Force. My grandfather served in the Air Force. So we are a military family. We had Army, we had Navy, I think Coast Guard and Air Force. So I couldn't get away from it. I was a little delayed, but I couldn't get away from it. So I traveled all over. I went to 10 schools in 12 years. We moved constantly. We moved constantly. And I learned how to connect with people with all different backgrounds. That was one of the greatest gifts that I got as a military dependent. I interact with every and anybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care where you're from, what language you speak. It allowed me to really connect with people. And I still remember in my senior book for high school when it said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I put psychologist. And I've always been a helper. I've always been curious about why things are the way they are, why we think and do what we do. And so once I realized I would be in school for about 8 years, I said, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. But God has a sense of humor. And I am literally working on my doctorate in health psychology. So it just came full circle. That's all it did.
I like that because we do know that the passions that we have in life as a child do spew into who we become. And that's why I like to start this podcast off with talking about passions as a kid, because we don't get away from it. Some people pursue it, some
Right.
people don't. So we're talking about it so that we can help others resonate here and say, well, if she did it like that, then I could do that too. I don't have to not do what's in me to do. So
Absolutely.
yeah, keep talking about your unique identity. In a nutshell, who is Charmaine Turner? What's your unique identity? Your 30-second elevator speech. I am what? Who are you, honey?
Absolutely. Yes, I am a certified life coach and wellness strategist. I'm passionate about helping people when it comes to chronic illness because there's so much of chronic illness, especially in the United States. So I am committed to helping families, communities, and workplaces to make health and self-care a priority because we don't have to live sick. We don't have to normalize living with these diagnoses, these lifestyle illnesses that we choose to live with. So that is really who I am in this season of my life. I know we're going to talk about my past and my diagnosis and all that stuff, but if you just look at the numbers, if you look at the numbers, 6 out of 10 adults in the United States are living with at least one chronic illness, and 4 out of 10 are living with at least two. And those numbers are too high. And if you think that chronic illness does not show up in your relationships, in your family, in the workplace, in the community, you are sadly mistaken. So that is where I am really dedicated to educating, empowering, and encouraging people because we are in control. We need to take control of our health and our wellness, especially if you're a Christian, because you have work to do and God needs you to be at your best. And so I'm here to remind people of that.
That's a fact. You have a lot to do, and health issues can be stumbling blocks. They are motivators to help us to reach people in a particular way because we've been through what we've been through. We can help someone else to do the same. And so I've got to ask you, why name the show From Superwoman to Surrender? Go ahead and tell your story.
Yes, I chose that title because, especially women of color, but just women, period, we are the glue that keeps our families together. We are the hard chargers. We are the wisdom. Women play such a large role. And sometimes we do. We feel like superwomen. We feel like we have a cape on our back. And we have to remember, sometimes we're reminded by a doctor visit or a diagnosis, that we are human and we are not super. And we have to take that cape off because all that does is lead to further health issues when we try to move like we're super. And I spoke with you before and I said, God has a sense of humor and he's going to show you one way or another that you are not in control, that you are not the superwoman that you think you are. We have to be reminded sometimes that we cannot do it all and we are not in control and we have to turn to him. And so that's where that title came from. He showed me real quick. I know you think you got it, girl, but your daddy is telling you I'm in charge. And so I had to surrender to him.
I tell you the truth, I've done quite a bit of surrendering in my life. I am also a person that's some of those statistics that you named with diseases or what have you. And I'm going to keep pushing it out, because as long as I have breath in my body, I am able to do whatever it is that God told me to do. So if
Yes.
I can't do it the way I used to, I can
Right.
still get it done. So let's go ahead and talk about that time that's pivotal for you, where we can dump some of your puzzle pieces out of the box and see how God put them together for you to
Yeah.
pursue your ultimate purpose. So tell us about that time that you
Yes.
actually stepped outside of a box intentionally. There are
Mhm.
a lot of moments in your life, I'm sure, but this show is going to highlight the one that you've chosen for this moment. So I'm going to
Yes.
backstage, and you can talk nonstop and just share whatever God told you to share, okay?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I love the fact that you said you chose, because it really is a choice. We have so much going on in our lives, and we can choose to stay stuck. We can choose to wear a label. We can choose to not get out of bed. And so you have to make a choice to keep living and to keep going and to trust God. And so for me, my story started when I was serving in the military, and I was doing great things. I was like the golden child, as one of my friends called it. I could do no wrong. I was the volunteer of the year. I was the NCO of the year. I was the booster club president. I was doing all of the things. And I literally ran a half marathon 2 months before getting diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now, I don't say I have multiple sclerosis. I say I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, because I don't have it and it does not have me. And again, that's a choice. And so I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. A year and a half later, they pushed me out of the military. I was not pleased. I was angry. I was angry with God. I was confused. I was overwhelmed, all of those things. And I was depressed. And I will be the first to say mental health is a huge area that we should embrace and focus on, because mental health is very real. And the Lord brings us the blessings and the tools and the resources that we need in the form of people. So we have to seek the help that we need. Well, I went through that depressive state for about 6 months, and I said, you know what, girl, you cannot stay here. You still have so much life ahead of you. I was only 35 years old. I had 3 sons. I had a lot to live for. And so I sought the help that I needed, and I went to counseling. I got the support I needed. I educated myself about this new diagnosis. I removed those labels. Disability is not, it's not in my vocabulary. I like to say remove the dis and focus on the ability. That is so important, because regardless of what is in your medical records, you still are capable and able to do so much. And that was my choice. I said, okay, what's next? God has given me an opportunity, and that's how I had to look at it. He gave me an opportunity to slow down. He gave me an opportunity to focus on my health and my family, and for me to sit back and say, what's next? What do you want me to do next? And so I started a business. I became a boutique owner, actually. I had a little girl, finally had my daughter, and really focused on my family. And the boutique life was great. And then my health started acting up again, because I would say in part because I was not prioritizing my health. I was not implementing those boundaries. I was not very intentional about how I ran my business. And when COVID came and shut us all down, it was horrible for so many, but it was also helpful for so many. And that is where God said, shut it down. And I closed my boutique. He said, I have something else for you. And Exalting Wellness was born during the COVID pandemic. And again, it was a choice. Lord, I don't even know what you have me stepping into, but I trust you. I trust you. And that's what I did. He said, okay, get to work. And so what I did is I went to school. I got my master's in public health. I got certifications in so many different arenas: health and wellness, life coaching, MS counseling. I focused on several other certifications as well, because I feel like when God trusts you with his people, you should invest in your knowledge and your skill. And that's what I did. So I took about a year and a half focused on how to be the best health coach, how to be the one that God needed me to be in this season of my life. And I'm so thankful for that time. So that is the choice that I made to say, okay, we're not going to stay stuck. We're not going to let MS have this cloud over us. We're going to make a choice to do what he has called you to do. And I love it here. I love this space. I love being able to say my testimony is going to help so many others, and it has tremendously.
You are so unboxed. I love it. That's why I reached out and blah, 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 blah. But you said clearly several nuggets I wanted to make sure the audience caught that I think are important. You said invest in your skill. Do not stay stuck. You can be unboxed depending on how you look at you. I love that. Other one that really caught me because of my own issues. Teach yourself to say, I have a diagnosis. The health issue does not have me.
Right.
So I don't have it. It doesn't have me either.
Right.
But they diagnosed me with such and such. And in the meantime, I'm going to get this stuff done for God.
That's it.
I might have to do it differently. I love that. The third thing that you said that I really, really like before we move on a little bit further into your story, choose to remove the DIS from ability.
Mm-hmm.
We don't deal with disabilities. We deal with what the ability is that we have to get something done. Those are nuggets right there that we could spend an hour a piece on. Anything else you want to spill out there right here? Whatever you want to say, because I just love all of what you're throwing out to us today.
I just think we have to encourage ourselves. Sometimes you don't get encouragement from the world. Sometimes people don't understand what you're going through. And so you have to build yourself up. You have to pour into you so that you can encourage yourself. We know it's in the word. It tells you encourage yourself. Sometimes it has to be that. And so we can only do that when we're well, when we're healthy. And that means mental health and physical health and spiritual health. And that's where the whole person wellness is so important.
And so as we're talking about mentors and getting help, and you sought counseling, and now you do the things that it is that you do with your work with Exalting, say your name of your business.
Exalting Wellness.
Exalting Wellness. You do what you do with all of that. Here's someone who's listening. Here's someone who's viewing this episode, and they need to do the same thing. So how do you recommend that they reach out to other people to help them become unboxed, to help them to become unstuck in their situations?
Yes. I think the first thing is always the hardest. And that's just saying, I need to look in the mirror and be honest with myself. Am I okay? Am I all right? Do I need help? Because so many times we act like we're okay. And this is not a time to put on the makeup, as I say. This is not the time for that. This is the time to take everything off and look in the mirror and say, I am not okay. And it's all right to say that. We need to say that. I'm a big statistics person and look at data, and issues like suicide, the rates are sky high. Depression, anxiety, all of those things. We are struggling with loneliness.
True.
Even though we have so much to keep us connected, people are still lonely. And so you have to be able to say, I am not okay and I need help. And that's the very first thing that you have to do. And then you have to do the work, because people are not just going to come to your house. So you have to research. You have to actually take those steps to seek the help that you need. That means research. That means going online and looking at counselors and looking at support groups and all of that. We have so many resources now, so we can't say, well, I didn't know. No, you can't even. If you're on ChatGPT, ask it. Ask it, who do I need to call?
And you see, there are so many people in our community, especially I live in a rural community, and people in the church are, a lot of people in the church are older and all that sort of thing, and they still have the same problems that we're discussing right now. Medical issues occur even more as you get older and that sort of thing. But even still, those really don't have to be excuses for staying in a box. And
Right.
so, as we look at influencers in our lives and stepping out of that, so many people tell me, "Well, I don't like using the computer. I don't know that much about the computer. I don't get on social media. I don't do this, do that, the other in terms of technology." What can you offer in terms of encouragement for people that feel that way and say those things and won't reach out electronically? What could they do?
Right. Now I will say I literally just went to an event on Monday. My mayor is doing a health event, and so we're doing for the whole summer different activities, trying to get the community involved and get people out because some people don't know what's going on. As you said, some people they don't get on the phone, they don't, they're not online, they're not doing social media. Back in the day, and I'm saying 50s right around the corner for me. So I remember when we didn't have access to everything. I didn't have a computer, throughout school, and I didn't have a cell phone until I was probably 21 or 22. So I remember when we were not as connected. And so I love the fact that I can go out and within my community and be face to face and answer questions and talk to people. I also love the fact that those melanated family members and community members that are out there struggling get to see someone who has melanin too, and they can relate to it. So I think one of the big things is if you are in the education field, if you are in the field of service, because that's what I call myself, I'm a server. I'm a servant leader all day. And it's important for us to get out and not just lean on technology because there is a whole population that is not comfortable. Another thing that's very important is within our communities, even with colleges, offering classes, maybe even free classes, so that people can come and learn how to use the technology. For instance, my mother-in-law, I'm not going to call her out, but my mother-in-law is almost 70 and we still have to help her with text messaging. Just text messaging. Is it frustrating sometimes? Yes. But we also have to be patient. That's important. We have to be patient. I like to think about all that you guys have seen. And when I say you guys, I'm going to put you there because you're not 60 or under. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. But I have a grandmother who is 83, and my grandmother will be playing games on her phone. And I know because we're connected on Facebook. So it's like, Grandma, go to bed. Why are you on this game? So some people embrace it. Some people are very hesitant, but either way, we have to be patient. We have to move with love and we have to move with compassion. And if we can all do that, it helps everyone. It helps everyone because that's the first time they're in their 80s or their 90s or their 70s, just like it's the first time you in your 30s, in your 40s. So we have to remember that.
That is a fact. I'm looking at the title again, From Superwoman to Surrender. And in our younger years, we feel like we can accomplish this, that, or the other. And then bam, here's technology. And I don't want to necessarily turn the show into that. But as you're talking about the different things that we can do to grab a hold of our destiny, to grab a hold of our purpose and pursue it despite what's going on with diagnoses that people put in our faces. We have to deal with those things. We have to do the therapy. We have to do all of that, but also understand, and as you said, be patient with those who kind of refuse to step into what is now.
Right.
But they're still lovable. God still loves everybody. And so
Yes.
we have to position ourselves to escort people through their situations
Mhm.
the way that they are. And
Yes.
so, as we're talking about all of this interconnectedness, a lot of my work has to do with um, growing intimacy with God and helping others to make that choice that you want to get closer and closer. But you can't do it by yourself. And
Right.
we're talking about that connection, that whole social thing, whether it's technology, social media, or whether it's in person, it's still social. And so,
Mhm.
who were some of your biggest influencers in life?
Of course, my mother. I watched her. She raised my brother and I. She was a single parent, and she worked a lot. So she was gone for a lot of our young years. She worked. She was in the military, and then she worked a second job while in the military. So I learned to take certain things from her in what I wanted to emulate or be similar. So I saw how hardworking she was. She is, I'm saying was, she is a hard worker. She is very ethical. She loves the Lord. And so I thanked her. I had to call her one night while I was in seminary and say, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you for Joshua 24:15. I just want to thank you for introducing me to the love of my life, for introducing me to my heavenly Father. So I learned those things from her, and then as I went on, I really didn't focus. I really didn't feel like I had any kind of mentorship
Right.
until maybe the last, honestly, I'm going to say about 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And so I would see different women, like, for instance, like Michelle Obama, and I would look at how she was with her husband and with her family
Right.
and how she focused on health. And then when I jumped into seminary, which was 3 years ago, I really got to see a whole different side, because I feel like in 38, 39 years of going to church, I learned how to do church.
Ah.
I didn't have relationship. I didn't have the encounter with Christ. And
Woo, yeah.
so,
Woo-wee.
right, yes. So when I started seminary, I was like, "Oh, girl, you've been missing out. You
You're
have
just
been missing out."
you
And
talking all up in my living room right now,
yes,
talking about that relationship.
mhm,
Because I even wrote about that in one of my books, Beyond Discipleship to Relationship, how to
yes,
develop intimacy with the Lord. You go ahead on and talk. This is your spot,
yes.
not mine.
No, I know it. It make you want to move inside. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's
that's
exactly
it.
right.
That's it. And so the ladies in my church, um, they helped me to see, and they didn't even realize they were helping me to see. They didn't even know. It was just that time. It was just God was like, I kept you, and I thank you, Jesus. He kept me through bad decisions. He kept me through ignorance. He kept me through all of those things until now. I love my whole 40s because it's all been about God. It's just been about me and him and strengthening my walk and realizing that even though my earthly father has not been in my life, I have not ever been fatherless. I've always had a father. And so that is where I have really learned so much. There are some coaches that I have worked with on the health side, and absolutely, like, teaching me how to balance and how I can be an awesome mom and an awesome wife while still taking care of me and making myself a priority. So I'm thankful just for the different seasons and how that mentorship changes. It changes.
You touched on so many different aspects of being a woman,
Mhm.
being a Christian, being as you do your thing, whole person. So I'm
Mhm.
going to go backstage and give you a few moments, as many as you need, because I'm not really watching the clock,
Okay.
to really talk about what that wellness and wholeness means. What is it really about being whole and being well? Look at
Yes,
every aspect of that you care to choose. You let the Lord tell you what to talk about.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think as I went through my training and learning about wellness, they were pieces in different areas. And I was just like, no, no, this is all encompassing. This is whole person wellness. And I think my last training was the first time that they really talked about it, but they didn't touch on as much the spiritual side of things. And I think that was one of the missing elements for me, that when I put those pieces together, I was like, this is it. Because we look at the word, and the Bible tells us, all the different elements. When people say, no, counseling shouldn't be part, no, the Bible tells us, that we are supposed to have the mental wellness, that we are, flesh man, spirit man, our soul, all of those things. And so when I look at wellness, it is whole person wellness. You cannot be well if your money is funny. You cannot be well if you're struggling with anxiety and depression. You cannot be well if you are not fit enough to get up out of that bed every day. So we have to look at the whole thing. In addition, when I say whole person wellness, environmental wellness is important too. When you're in an environment that is negative, that does not pour into you, that does not help you to be your best self, you have to look at that as well. So when you think about environment, even think about your workplace. Are you going to work every day and dreading it? Are you depressed about work? Now that's twofold, because part of it is you and how you look at things. But the other part, it might not be where you're supposed to be. And I'm just going to give an example. I worked for an insurance company before I joined the military, and I had friends that would pull in the parking lot and cry before they went into the workplace. Pull into the workplace and be so depressed about working, or having to go and actually get medication from a counselor or a psychologist. So we have to look at everything around us when we're saying, how am I doing? Checking in with yourself. It's not just your physical and how you feel. It's not just your mental and if I'm mentally well or not. It's not just financial. It's not just spiritual. It's all encompassing. And I think that we are our best selves when we can be intentional about checking in those areas and really creating a lifestyle that honors all of those things. If your finances are funny, you have to say, okay, how is my spending? Is there too much month than money, or too much money than month? How is that working? Again, being honest and really looking at your situation and circumstance. As a health coach, I see it all the time. And I've actually had one client who said to me, I'm healthy, I'm just fat. These are her words, so y'all don't be mad at me. And I said, no, my dear. That's not how we're going to talk. And second, when we have issues with weight, it's a symptom of something else. So we have to dig and we have to figure out what's going on. Are we struggling with an addiction to food? Are we an emotional eater? Is something tied to a memory? Are we bored eating? We look at all of those things. So when you're looking at whole person wellness, you really do have to look at your entire life. What's working, what is not, what is healthy, what is not. All of those factors play such an important part. It's not just, let me drink this flat tummy tea and my stomach is going to go away. That's not it. That's not me. It's not just a meal plan. That's not it either. You have to look at your whole life. What's working? Where's the leak? What's leaking out? What's not working for me anymore? And how is it showing up in my life? And that's part of the reason why I focused on counseling and psychology, because when it comes to coaching, it's all based out of psychology. You have to look at the roots. We hear functional nutritionists and all of that. You have to look at the root. That's important. And not just your physical health, but the whole person. You got to look at it all.
That concept is what I love and what I really wanted to share with having you here to talk about. You don't have to try to be that superwoman that's going to basically keep you depressed anyway.
Right.
You surrender to God's will and you make sure that you do the whole person approach. And you use the key word. It's a lifestyle.
Yes.
And whatever the thing is, it's symptomatic of something deeper. So address it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are the mentors and all those other things. Let's just talk about this as we get ready to draw a conclusion here. You have children. Someday, way down the line, I mean, way down the line, let's look at future generations to your
Yeah.
great, 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 great grandchildren who have yet been born.
Right.
What advice could you spew out, or wisdom for preventing them from being stuck in a box? And of course, we're recognizing that that'll resonate with somebody today.
Right. I think that when I think about future generations, I don't want them to be in their 40s before they get it. I want them to look at themselves as the temple of the Holy Spirit. And when you look at it that way, you treat your body differently, you live differently. And I think that's part of what has been missing in my younger years and for so many people, because you're thinking this life is about me, this is my body. It's not. It's not even about you. You just a vessel. So I feel like if I had a better grasp, a better understanding of that,
Mhm.
my life would have been different. It went the way it was supposed to, no doubt. But when it comes to what I teach my children, I need them to see that it's bigger. It's bigger than you. And this is the only one, that the only body you have in this life.
That's
So
right.
you got to take care of it. You have to take care of it.
That's right. Is there any other information that you want to share that might include what's coming up next for you? Events, services, products you want to advertise, or anything like that? Anything that you want to share at this point? How viewers can get in touch with you and all that?
Absolutely. This year has been tremendous, and we are just in June. So I thank the Lord for that. I wrote my first book finally, because my daddy was like, "Look, daughter, write that book." So I wrote my first book. It's called Navigating Chronic Illness with a Christian GPS, and it is available on Amazon. And in that book, it's a love story. It's a love story, not just a traditional love story of me and my husband, but it's a love story about how I fell back in love with the Lord. And so I'm very excited about that. In the back of the book, there's some guidance. It's like a checklist almost for anyone who has recently been diagnosed with a chronic illness, or maybe they've been living with the chronic illness and just are struggling. Some things that I wish I had known early on in my diagnosis. So I want to be able to help people, and that's what this book is doing. So very excited about that. I have a program that I offer twice a year, once in January and once in July. It's called Combating Chronic Illness. It's a 6-month mastermind. It's in depth. I literally walk hand in hand with you virtually, to help you navigate that journey, to help empower you and encourage you, and just to help you when it comes to looking at your future and redefining your next steps. One of the things that I learned or kind of struggled with a little bit is my definition of success had to change. When I was in the military, success meant I was going to make chief and become an officer. Well, when that was taken away from me, what does success mean now? And so when you're living with a chronic illness, success can look different. Success might mean I cleaned the house today. Success might mean I finally finished my degree. Success might mean I got up on a stage and shared my story. Success might mean I can work a full-time job. So it looks different at different seasons. And so that's one nugget, as I would like to say, that I want people to hold on to. You have to redefine success, because otherwise you're feeling bad about yourself when it comes to something you can't even control. So you have to redefine your success. So those are the two things that I would like to share. You can always contact me, all things Exalting Wellness. My website is exaltingwellness.com. You can reach me by email at info@exalting wellness, and then all socials is Exalting Wellness as well.
Sounds like a plan. I know they're going to reach out to you and tap in and get some of this good information, and just connect with her on social media, because I know that has been a blessing for me. I found myself as I sat backstage, scooting to the edge of my seat and leaning closer to the computer. It's like, no, you can't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Anyway, such a blessing to have you here. Is there any parting words you want to share? You've already told us how to connect with you. Just one last stab at it. If there's anything in there that you wanted to say that hasn't come out yet, because I know I didn't stick with the questions that we had originally talked about. But that's okay.
Just that the best is yet to come. Your ladder will be greater if you put him first and you lean in. That's it. That's the greatest gift that he has given us. So lean in, love the Lord, and love yourself.
Amen. Lean in, love yourself, and underline it all with loving the Lord, and he will not lead you wrong. Thank you so much, Charmaine Turner. You are unboxed on purpose, for a purpose, with purpose intentionally for others to be able to do the things that they've been designed to do.
Thank you so much.
Superwoman in a certain way, Superman to surrender. Superhero, we don't have to be that. We just need to surrender to what God has already ordained. God bless you, and I thank you so much for spending a few moments with Unboxed on Purpose. And now we'll turn to our listening audience once more and ask you to join us for about 30 minutes or so for each episode that is released on Thursdays of Unboxed on Purpose. We try to have restorative, intergenerational conversations that are refreshing, that shape our future as well as our right now. We do post our new episodes every week, but once I put them up on the Favored by the Father YouTube channel, I do not take them down. So please share them with others. Engage with us. Tell us what you think. Find us on Facebook, LinkedIn as well, and most podcast platforms. I like to share that as we evolve, we are like butterflies that are floating out of a box of confinement. When we allow the Holy Spirit to advance us to immeasurable levels that are lofty in the Lord, fulfill your purpose and grow your intimacy with the Lord as you remain favored by the Father. God bless you, and thank you so much for being a part of this episode today. From Superwoman to superhero, no, to surrender. God bless you. The trilogy, Beyond Discipleship to Relationship, Developing Intimacy with the Lord. This is our revised edition, and it is a heartfelt invitation to move beyond surface level faith into a deep personal relationship with God. Beyond Discipleship to Relationship was written to inspire a deeper intimacy with the Lord, cultivating moments of personal connection as well as cultivating spiritual connections and transformation. It's written to encourage a lifestyle that reflects the gospel, prompting shifts in how we live, how we love, and how we lead as imitators of Christ. We need to explore key biblical events in this book. You can look with the space to pause, reflect, and allow the Holy Spirit to speak through the Word. Nurture a visible faith with this book, one that compels others to see Christ alive in us, not just in what we say, but how we live. God's truth, God's truth dwells within you. This journey is about awakening it and living out your divine relationship with purpose and passion. It's available on Amazon. Check out Barbara Arlene Fields' Brehon, Remain Favored by the Father.